Hello everyone and welcome to this week's edition of the ACMi Sports Report. In addition to our usual sports coverage, we have a special guest today, varsity football head coach Matt O'Loughlin. Today he will take us through the Spy Ponders' strong season and will explain how they were able to continue on when challenged. But first, the highlights. There were only a handful of events that occurred since our last sports update, but we will share the highlights from boys football and boys and girls cross country. The football team faced Melrose at home on Friday, November 12th. On the very first play from scrimmage, electric utility man Marcus Jean-Jacques took a handoff and ran all the way to the end zone, igniting the crowd and giving Arlington a quick 7-0 lead. If that wasn't enough, Jean-Jacques duplicated his feat and took the second play from scrimmage all the way for the touchdown as well. However, Arlington's Scott Matheson recklessly got caught up in a scuffle during the play, and the play came back on a penalty. This also resulted in Matheson's ejection from the game, leaving Arlington without a key offensive lineman. Arlington was plagued with penalties all game long, particularly Jean-Jacques, who also saw an interception and a nice catch be called back. After leading 14-0 early on, Melrose finally found an answer to Arlington and wound up winning 35-21. Arlington's home game woes continued after this tough loss to Melrose. They came back on Thanksgiving and played Waltham High School at home. Sophomore Caden Mills dominated all game long on both sides of the ball, as Waltham was unable to keep him out of the end zone or stop him from swarming to the ball. We look in and see Mills power into the end zone for an Arlington touchdown on their first drive. We also see Mills strip Waltham's Ty Connolly for a critical turnover. Marcus Jean-Jacques finished his season with a huge 2-touchdown game, a performance that we have come to expect, and Stan Tier caught a touchdown in his final high school football game. Even Captain Shane Brown was able to return from his injury and play a few snaps. The traditional Thanksgiving game finished with a 49-7 pounding of Waltham High School, and they concluded their season smiling with a 5-5 record. They always bounced back when struggling and always answered a loss with a win. The Spy Ponders finished at 500, and with a lot of star players returning, they will be an even bigger contender next year. Both the boys and girls cross-country team both raced in divisionals on Saturday, November 13th, and performed very well. The girls team finished third and qualified for states, but it was the boys team who stole the show. They came in first overall, and captain and Middlesex League MVP Justin Eastman came in first out of all runners. Eastman made a final kick and passed the leader in the final 20 meters. At the state final, both teams finished solidly out of all qualified Division I teams. Ironically, the final placing of both the boys and girls cross-country teams were 14th overall. The wrestling season starts on December 11th, and the boys basketball team has a home opener on December 14th. Here at ACMi, we will bring as much coverage of all of the winter sports as possible. Now for interview of head coach Matt O'Loughlin. First of all, welcome to Studio B and thank you for joining us for the sports report today.
Thanks, appreciate it.
I'd like to start off with an interesting statistic, and that is that Arlington never had a losing streak the entire season. They always were able to answer a loss with a win. After starting the season with a loss, they bounced back with a win and then a loss from there on out for the rest of the season. Is there anything particular that you would do or say to your team after a particularly tough loss?
I'm not sure we had anything particular to say. That was a kind way of framing the question. We also never had a winning streak. But no, they're a great group of kids who, they responded well to adversity all year.
Yeah.
So they bounced back. It wasn't so much what the coaches were saying. It was that they were able to kind of dig back in after being disappointed by a loss. And we had some tough losses that we knew were going to be tough games, but we also had some losses that we thought we could have come out on top, and it's a credit to our kids and all the players that they didn't let it get to them. They fought to bounce back. They didn't stay down. They focused on the positive and really worked hard at that next week.
Yeah, and they really did well bouncing back. So how do you feel about the future of the team? You've got Marcus Jean-Jacques returning, you've got Caden Mills returning, we're going to lose a Stan Pierre and some other critical seniors, but we're also going to have a fresh crop of freshmen. So how are you feeling for the future of the team?
Yeah, I think anytime you're bringing back some key skill position players, including Jake Schiano, who's our starting quarterback, is coming back as well. And we have players across the board that got some meaningful minutes this year that we are bringing back. So we think the future is bright, but it takes a lot of work. And we saw that when we played Woburn and we played Reading. We have to put the work in the off season. You can't just show up in August and expect everything to go great. So we're going to keep building and keep working at it and working out in the off season and getting stronger, and we'll see what we can do. The goal here is to get better every year and eventually be one of the dominant forces in Eastern Mass football. That's what we hope to be.
Yeah, definitely. And which game in the past season stands out as a particularly good example of Spy Ponders football?
Well, I mean, not just the score, but Waltham, we really put everything together for Waltham. It's kind of a tease because it's the last game, and then you don't get to play again for 8 months. But Waltham, we really put everything together. The biggest thing that we had to overcome this year was just kind of a depth issue. We had a lot of people that were new to the game, so we had so many games, usually home games, where one or two kids would get injured and we couldn't put it back together. So that's what we're going to be working on in the off season is building that depth and hopefully with the goal of playing more games the way we played against Waltham and finished against them, because that was a complete game. Defense, offense, special teams, everything was about as close to perfect as you can get.
Yeah, Arlington was really firing on all cylinders in that game. And if you had to pick one favorite moment or even a highlight or anything from the last season, which one would it be?
Favorite moment? That's a tricky question. I think, instead of a moment, I think it's some of, I guess it's going to be Cambridge, the game as a whole, because we had just lost to Winchester, which was a devastating loss. Winchester, the only game they won all year was against us. They played perfectly. They outcoached us. They did everything great, but it was a game that we definitely thought we should have had, and it was tough. It was a tough week of practice. It was tough to bounce back. It was tough to send the message that, hey, we can turn this around. And then we came back and we played Cambridge and we beat them handedly. I think the final score was 42-14 or something like that. We beat them pretty good. We put a lot of things together, and that was a crossroads moment because the players easily could have kind of given up on the message that the coaches were sending at that point, and they didn't. So that was a proud moment.
Yeah, definitely. All right, thank you again, Coach, and congratulations on such a great season.
I appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you.
That is all for today's sports update. Thank you for watching. I'm Xander Lee.